be breaking down downward facing dog here. This is a posture. Down dog is used so much in classes. It's a posture that's hardly ever broken down and really talked through. So I'm going to give you the quote-unquote traditional alignment, and then also tons of options with chairs and blocks, because this is a posture that can have so many different options, all that benefit us in different ways. So first off, downward facing dog. So traditional, if you will, downward facing dog is usually comes from tabletop or a number of other positions. And what we're looking for in the hands is fingers spread nice and wide so you can see the color of your mat between each finger, and active hands. So as if you were palming a basketball, press the finger pads into the ground, and then press especially into the pointer and the thumb edges of your hands. That makes it so it's kinder to your wrists. And this is a posture that has a lot of weight on the wrist, so we're going to go through some other options as well for a little bit kinder alignments for your wrists. All right, so hands are on the earth and really active. And then what we're looking for here is eyes at the elbows to be pointed forward. So rather than in, see if you can rotate your forearms so that the eyes of your elbows point forward without locking out your elbows. So still a soft bend in the elbows. And then from here, toes tuck under with feet hips width distance apart and hips come high. You'll hear in some classes, instructors teach straight legs. I, in the camp, and love the belief that a bend in the knees is a whole heck of a lot kinder to the low back. So a lot of times you might hear work your heels toward the ground. Well, here's a place where I can take a moment to look at my body a little bit. When my knees are bent and my heels are slightly lifted, you'll notice that my low back has a nice curve in it and my tailbone is tilted up. If I straighten my legs, I immediately lose the integrity of my core and there's a twinge in my low back. So what we're looking for here is a gentle bend in the knees, heels slightly lifted, and tailbone tilted up and back. And then press the inside edge of your hands. Head isn't forward or in toward your chest. Head hangs naturally in between your arms. So this is what we're looking for here. Long side bodies, and then really pressing into the earth and sending your booty up and back. Feet hips width distance. Downward facing dog. A good way to think about arm placement is if someone was next to you, act like you're trying to hide your armpits from the person next to you. Sound weird, but what that means is you roll your shoulders in and eyes of your elbows forward. Your shoulders will immediately light up and be like, holy crap, what are you doing? What we're looking for is sensation, not pain, not mind. And it'll feel like a lot more work. So again, that was a little bend in the knees, booty up and back, press into the inside edges of your hands, and then hide your armpits with your neighbors and press into the earth. All right, that's traditional downward facing dog. I, as you know, have a larger body, so that's a lot of weight to go on my wrists. Traditionally, what we're looking for in downward facing dog is weight to be mostly in the legs. So if you think about it, traditional yoga postures were designed for like prepubescent teenage boys. So usually they had a tiny little top and the biggest part of their body was like legs. So what that means is that this assumed that most of the weight would be in their legs, not in their wrists. Well, for adults and predominantly larger bodies, most of the weight is waist up. So when I'm in down dog, my wrist is so exhausted and starting to hurt. I mean, even now, I'm like, that wasn't so great. And that's even with proper alignment. Our body, our legs are designed to hold us. Our arms aren't necessarily. These little tiny wrists aren't the joints meant to hold hips and knees. Think about how big those are in comparison to itty bitty wrists. So a great option for downward facing dog is putting your hands on blocks. And what that does is it shifts your weight from here to here, and it makes it so more weight. So think about if you're here, there's a lot of weight in your wrist. If I'm here, the weight shifts back into the feet a lot more. I will say though, it's important to have a non-slip mat, and cork blocks are way kinder to the wrists. The harder the surface is, the better it is on your wrists over time, and you'll just feel more stable on cork blocks. So if you're looking to use this as an option, I highly recommend cork blocks. So other than the fact that your hands are on blocks, your alignment is exactly the same. So hands are active. I hold on, I can probably kind of see here. My hands are wide enough that I can kind of palm the block, but I especially press into the inside edge. Blocks can be shoulder width distance, maybe a little bit wider. Heels of your hands can be right on the edge of the block or in the center of the block. Edge of the block gives you a little bit more stability. And then from here, it's the same alignment. This is also nice because in a lot of classes, we're asked to step forward from down dog. My glutes and belly get in the way for that. So when there's a block, it's a lot easier for me to step forward. So blocks under the hands, little bend in the knees, heels lifted, booty up and back. Active hands hold tight to your gloves. I immediately have so much more weight in my legs rather than my wrists and shoulders. So that's a great option. Another wonderful option that I love to do when I've been working at my computer for a long time, or if I'm in a seated yoga or chair yoga class, is to have one of these simple folding chairs, keeping in mind making sure that it's all the way open and on a non-slip surface. Otherwise, you might face the land. So what we're looking for here is feet. So what we're looking for is feet outer hips. This is a wide-legged downward dog. So outer hips are distance apart. Bend the knees, come onto the toes, and start walking your feet back, moving up and back. And then when your arms feel fully extended, so see here, my arms are pretty much in their full length. I'm going to gently drop my head in between my arms. This feels so good on my back. It's a supported downward facing dog, but it gets a lot of the benefits of the down dog posture without all the weight from your wrists and hands. You can hold onto the chair here. So this is a great option. Try to remember, not straight legs. If I do this, my low back is like, but if I keep a bend in my knees and really pop my booty up and back, there's a lot more length in my side body. If you're a hyper-flexible person, I'm a pretty flexible person, my head can actually drop down really far, and that puts some strain on my back. So instead, think of keeping your head in line with your ears and lengthening your back side of your neck. So this is a super supportive way to find downward facing dog with a lot of the benefits of the posture and not a lot of the weight from the wrists. A final option here is going to be if you flip your chair around, make sure it's open all the way, stable, kind of press on it a little bit. Then hands to the edge of the seat of the chair. Slowly walk your feet back, nice and wide, looking forward fold. This is somewhere in between hands on the blocks and hands on the top of the chair. So I'm keeping a bend in my knees, I'm popping my booty up the back, and then once I walk as far back as I feel comfortable. So this is a posture where there's a little bit of weight in the hands, and then your hips are still up and back, but that's a length through your side body. So really reach forward, so that there's length all the way from your armpits and shoulders all the way up and back through your hips. Keep a little bend in your knees. And this is another version of downward facing dog. Come out, just walk forward, and slowly come up to standing. So there's lots of options for downward facing dog, all the way from traditional, hands on the earth, with a nice bend in the knees, to blocks, back of chair, seated chair, all kinds of stuff. If you have any questions about this posture or adjustments that might work better in your body, please feel free to contact me. You can email me. It's just Kady, Kady, @bigyoga.com. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching this downward facing dog tutorial. Have a great day.